Well, hello, and this is probably something that you thought you would never see, a YouTuber doing the worst of the keto influencers or the professionals. Well, there are good guys and there are bad guys. There are bad guys with good intentions and there are good guys with bad intentions. You have that all over the world. But I reserve the right to give my honest opinion on what I think is the worst and what is the best. And in this video, it's going to be a little confrontational. Some people are going to learn some things from this video that you haven't seen before, and some people are going to be very upset leaving this video that they have believed what they believed for so long and feel like possibly that they were duped, or maybe that um, they could have been led a specific path a better way. So that's basically where we're at right now. It is New Year's Eve, the last day of 2019, and I figured what better time to do this than now. And some of you are going to ask, why, Rich? Why even go to the point of doing this? Well, for one, specifically because this is my channel. Number two, I feel like people should know the truth, and a lot of people do rely on what my opinion is and what I have to say, and they appreciate that. So I'm going to go into the complete, honest to God review and truth on what I think the top four worst keto influencers or professionals in our industry are and the reasons why. And again, this is not to make you upset. This is coming from my opinion and the opinions of people that have dealt with these people. We're just going to go from there directly and let bygones be bygones, and let's just roll right into it. So, my number one person for I should say my number four person for the worst of the keto or professional influencer industry has got to be this person here. Let's see. Pull them up for you. I will screen share this with you. And again, this is just my opinion. Share screen, Chrome tab. Here we are rolling. Dr. Josh Axe is number four. The reason I picked Dr. Josh Axe as being the number four worst keto influencer or professional in the keto space is the fact that Dr. Josh Axe is all over the place. He'll go for a 3 or 4 month spout where he will believe something a specific way, and he'll start to slowly change on things, or he'll bring people like Jillian Michaels on screen with him. That's one of the biggest frauds in the fitness industry, especially people that bring that calories in versus calories out mentality as if it's golden and it's the complete truth. Dr. Josh Axe is my number four pick for the simple fact that Dr. Josh Axe to me is not really a ketogenic professional. He kind of is all over the place. He's never just on one specific type of routine. He now has, like a year or two ago, kind of switched into this whole do keto for 3 months, come back off of it kind of thing, because I don't really think he understands exactly what it takes to really get into that metabolic healing long term. So Dr. Josh Axe is my number four pick for this. A lot of people will end up on his YouTube channel. They'll see his supplements. They'll see all the things that he's selling all over the place, the company that he has, which is Ancient Nutrition. And then there's people like Jillian Michaels that are also reflective of his company. And that is one of the reasons why Dr. Josh Axe is my number four pick, because he does deal a lot with her. I don't find very good quality information that would give somebody a stable platform from him, and it's just this almost salesman type mentality rather than speaking to a doctor that's giving you good advice. So good morning. So Dr. Josh Axe would be my number four pick. I'm not going to beat around the bush too much with him. Now, my number three pick, you could probably already guess, Thomas DeLauer. Thomas has a lot of great information, but Thomas almost seems like he's a bought and paid for fitness model. Thomas bounces around so much as well. There's the consistency behind what Thomas puts out often just isn't there. And he's got his ideas on fasting, and he'll even talk about different types of mineral profiles and nutrient profiles and stuff like that. And it just doesn't seem like Thomas actually understands what he's talking about sometimes. And he has a lot of the ketogenic and carnivorous world fooled by some of the stuff that he puts out. Um, I don't I don't find it being uh, a benefit to anybody while on Facebook looking back and forth at Thomas's uh, ads and profile and stuff that pop up all the time, because he's now tailored to a different supplement company every single day. It's a new ad every single day. It's a new company. It's do this, it's do that. And it gets ridiculous. It's a new program, buy this, a new subscription. And it gets to the point where Thomas is probably the biggest bought and paid for keto dude out of the entire keto space. And it's just kind of one of those things where I'm like, dude, get over yourself, man. You didn't build that body with keto. You've got people believing that this is something that you did with keto and you didn't, and you make a ton of money off of it. So my number 3 pick for the number 3 bought and paid for person is Thomas DeLauer. Thomas DeLauer is a bought ketogenic influencer, which is sad because a lot of people think that this guy is, all keto, and he's not. I mean, you can honestly tell this guy has obviously an alternate agenda going on. And I've got a message over here. Fiber free World Carnivore Month beginning January 1st. Why not make it World Carnivore Year, or better yet, World Carnivore Decade? Imagine that. A decade without fiber. Yeah. I mean, that's where I'm at right now, is little to no fiber at all. Every once in a while I might slip up, and not really slip up, but choose something outside of carnivore. But I agree, fiber is not something that's necessary. It's never been proven to be necessary. There's no scientific study, meta-analysis, peer-reviewed anything that says anything's 100% factual when it comes down to fiber being something necessary for the diet. So we will put Thomas DeLauer at number 3 for the specific reasons of how much he's bought, and really has a lot of people duped with the fact that they honestly think that Thomas cares for the subscribers that are subscribed to him, when he has so many different things going on at one time. The dude's making a buttload off of the keto space, especially with the supplements and the subscriptions and the meal planning and the workout programs and stuff that you can do for free by just putting a little bit of work in yourself. Now, am I jealous because of that? I'm not jealous because of that at all. But what I am trying to tell you is the fact that these people are out there and they want your money. What it comes down to. They specifically want your money. Now we're going to move on to the number 2 slot. The number 2 slot would be, you probably guessed it, Dr. Eric Berg. People are going to hate me for this. It is what it is. Dr. Eric Berg has a site for everything. Amazon stuff. He's got his own look at this here. Another one of the reasons why. Disciplinary action against Eric Berg, DC, Case Watch. Dr. Berg was issued his license in 1997. It will expire in 2008 unless renewed. From approximately 2000 to 2006, during the course of Dr. Berg's chiropractic practice at the Health and Wellness of Alexandria, Virginia, Dr. Berg violated former Section 51.1-2915.A of the code. Right over here. And that he utilized in the care, diagnosis, assessment, and treatment of his patients, including as amended in 2003 for conduct, including patients A through H, the following techniques, which were outside of the scope of the practice of the chiropractic and did not constitute acceptable standards of chiropractic care and have no reasonable scientific or medical research, investigation, study, or data to support the efficiency or the efficacy or the therapeutic benefit. The body restoration technique, a procedure by where the vials of distilled water were containing homeopathic imprints are held over certain designated body parts, body organs, or parts while the practitioner applies tactile pressure through tapping and rubbing acupuncture, allegedly to assist restoring the hormone balance and to address other symptoms. Allergy elimination technique, reflex analysis, acoustic cardiograph, and allegedly nutritional evaluation based on heart sounds reported and visualized on a graph. He violated this section. Contrary to acceptable standards of care, his medical records for patients A, C, D, F, G, and H, and Z do not have signed consent forms for treatment. At the initial or subsequent visits, Dr. Berg failed to take adequate medical histories of patients A through D, G, and H, failed to perform adequate physical examinations of patients A through H. Dr. Berg did not properly manage his patients' records or maintain adequate, legible, or complete records for patients A through H. Marketing advertisements. Despite the lack of responsible scientific or medical evidence to support the efficacy or therapeutic benefit of BRT and NAET, Dr. Berg repeatedly advertised or represented the patients and the public either implicitly or expressly that BRT and NAET were techniques that could be used to prevent, alleviate, diagnose, assess, treat, or otherwise ameliorate the variety of conditions and symptoms to include but not limited to the following: allergies, thyroid problems, infertility, depression, migraines, fibromyalgia, PMS, blood sugar problems, arthritis, sciatica, prostate problems, skin-related symptoms, heartbeat problems, stubborn metabolism, as stated in the following. We could keep going and going and going and going. On numerous occasions, Dr. Berg used the designation doctor without clarifying that he is a doctor of chiropractic, including a correspondence of patient Z dated June 21st, 2002, and October 2002, and August 2005 advertisements in Dynamic Chiropractic and on his website. In addition to Dr. Berg's letterhead and other documents and advertisements, and on the website, he repeatedly identified his practice, the Health and Wellness Center, without clarifying that it is a chiropractic practice. Furthermore, in an undated flyer sent to patient Z entitled "Long Time No See," Dr. Berg used the designation doctor with respect to 4 individuals in his patient who are certified in BRT without clarifying that these individuals are doctors of chiropractic. I mean, we could keep going and going and going and going and going here. One of the reasons why I don't follow Dr. Berg is it seems like Dr. Berg is also very bought. He's got an entire supplement line. Shortly after these incidents came out where he was getting reprimanded by the medical board for whatever reason, if it was cited or if it was, lawsuit type stuff. This is one of the reasons why I don't want to follow Dr. Berg. It's because the track record of where his professionalism came from to where it's at now, it came from this and went right into the ketogenic world, which sometimes leads me to believe that as a chiropractic doctor, maybe he couldn't get his act together enough. Maybe it just wasn't in his long-term goals of being able to stay as a chiropractic doctor and continue the path of being a professional when so many things are falling apart, the little small things, the nitpicking stuff, especially the paperwork aspect of things and addressing what type of professional you are, not operating outside of that. It didn't seem like he was really catching on to that. Shortly after that, he turns to something on social media that seems like it's going to work out, and then quits practicing and now has completely turned to social media, following a ketogenic diet and promoting his supplements on almost every single one of his videos. His Facebook page. I have some experience dealing with Dr. Berg. I went on his private Facebook page and I kind of, out of, just curiosity to see how his page ran right after he opened it, I went in on his page and I would see him at the end of the night show up for a small period, 45 minutes to an hour at the end of the day between 9 and 10 o'clock, right after he first started his page. They would show up and answer some questions, but it was never directly questions like, hey, this is what you have to do. So this person here says, I wound up in the hospital with a bleeding esophageal ulcer, blindly following Dr. Berg's advice on boosting stomach acid using potassium caps and I think that's supposed to be betadine hydrochloride, right? Or is it? Or anyway, I could have died. The problem is Dr. Berg is not a doctor. Dr. Berg is a chiropractic doctor. Yes, he does have some medical knowledge. He does have more knowledge than a typical person does. But when you come to the forefront and call yourself a professional for so long, people are going to be easily bought by that. And they're going to believe exactly what you say, especially when you've been doing it the longest on social media. You go through so many errors by learning from your mistakes and stuff like that with patients that become your test subjects without getting in trouble for it, because it is social media. They can't be bound by anything because they don't make any promises or claims. So you go out, you follow their advice and stuff like that, and what ends up happening is they don't get in trouble for it, and they figure out what works and what doesn't work based on trial and error. And unfortunately, other people's lives are involved when they go through that. Dr. Berg has been doing this forever, and it seems like shortly after his chiropractic medical stuff was failing, and the long-term effect of him being looked at by the medical board, what better way to do than just gotta get out of it completely when you see that there is a space for social media, supplement marketing, ketogenic dieting marketing, people that are so desperate to take their own lives at stake sometimes to follow somebody that they don't even really know. And it turned out to be a good thing for him. It turned out that he was actually helping thousands and thousands of people, but nobody knew the realistic aspect of where his life actually came from. I mean, from where it was at to where it's at now. So Dr. Berg is a great doctor to follow for somebody that's brand new, that doesn't know anything, but somebody that's been doing it for a while that can look at him. Most of the time, they're pretty disgusted by the fact that every video, it's about a supplement. Every video, it's about fixing some kind of deficiency. Every video, it says 7 to 10 cups of vegetables, which most people don't even do. And, just the recommendation of staying away from sugar, starches, and things like that in general that comes from his mouth is the typical healing point. And coming from a doctor that people think is a ketogenic doctor is what they're most comfortable with, because this is somebody that's thought of as a professional, when they don't actually have any more right to call themselves a ketogenic doctor than anybody else does. There is no title for a ketogenic doctor. You're a doctor that understands the ketogenic diet, but you are not a ketogenic doctor. There is no real title for that. It's a made-up, fictitious title that people like to call themselves or put themselves in some kind of category. All they are is just well-versed in a specific area, and that's where that's at. So on to my first worst choice of them all. And this is where things get really, really hairy. And this is going to take me a little bit of time to get through this and to explain the situation. My number one worst of the keto influencers is actually Dr. Ken Berry. And this is something that some of you probably are shocked by. A lot of you know that there are a lot of people out there that have done work with Dr. Ken Berry. Dr. Ken Berry has so many skeletons in his closet right now, it's ridiculous. The reason I'm going this route is because I have a long history with Dr. Berry. I found Dr. Berry on YouTube when he had about 2,000 people. And I thought, man, this guy's just straightforward. I didn't really see an agenda or anything like that. And I thought to myself, why not try to help him grow? I brought Dr. Ken Berry onto my private keto groups on Facebook, which is Keto Nation / Carnivore Official. And, we did some live interviews and stuff like that where we talked to the people and he would converse back and forth and stuff. And he seemed like an all right guy, but a lot of the stuff that he was covering was like mediocre stuff that I had already covered. I had already taught my group. It wasn't like they learned a bunch from him to begin with. It was a lot of basic stuff vitamin recommendations, what to do on a ketogenic diet whenever you first start, things like that. So, but it was good to have him on there to kind of reiterate some of the things that I was saying coming from a medical professional. But I just didn't feel right. I didn't feel right dealing with the guy sometimes. Something felt off about him. And the more I dealt with him, the more I realized that the focus was not so much on the people. The focus was more on growing as fast as you possibly can, getting as many subscribers as you possibly can. It was the social aspect of being on social media and being recognized as a professional in a keto space. Now, me and Dr. Berry would go back and forth, messaging each other and stuff like that. Sometimes, rarely would I get a response right away. It got to the point where I was getting blown off all the time. He wasn't showing up, to do lives. And then I find out from other people that Dr. Berry wasn't showing up to his Patreon things, when he would say, hey, Sunday we're going to do a live chat, or, Saturday we're going to do a live chat. People are telling me, man, I'm paying to be this guy's subscriber and he's not even showing up. Or, there would be people that would say, hey, I've been asking him questions and I help run his groups and stuff like that. And he doesn't even answer my own questions, and I'm the one running his group. How could he not answer the questions for the people that are running his group? And they got to the point where there were so many things going on in Dr. Berry's life that there's just so much that he was involved with that he wasn't able to tailor himself to everybody that he was supposed to be tailoring himself to. The more I dug into it, the more I started figuring out what was going on, and it just slowly kind of took me by storm. And I actually sent Dr. Berry a text message after I got tired of it. Somebody popped up on my feed one day and said, hey, could you tell me what's up with Dr. Berry and the citation list that he's involved with? I asked him and he deleted my comment. I went on his private group and I asked him in front of everybody. His wife or him deleted my comment. I don't know what's going on. By the end of the week, more people popped up and said, hey, can you talk about this thing that he was involved with? Like, we've been asking questions and we're paying Patreons and we're subscribers of his. Why is he not talking about this? And we're asking questions about it. But, I went to his admin. I brought it up to them. They brought it up to him. He said he would cover it. He would take care of it. I sent him a voice message across Facebook Messenger. I asked him about it. No response. Then I get to the point where I get tired of talking to him and being blown off all the time and just acting like I'm another number. I sent him this message. There's the icon with him and his wife. I'm just going to read it to you real quick. I put January 26, 2019. I'll just be straight with you, man. In the beginning, I used to think the world of you, but lately you've been so busy you don't have time for nobody. You don't have time for the people that helped you get to where you're at. I don't know how many times over the last year you told me, oh yeah, we'll do another live, we'll get together. And you just completely forget about me. You completely forget about the people that have helped you get to where you are and that you say you're going to do stuff with. I remember when you had 2,000 subscribers and you were a small fish, and I would have everybody, including other group creators, just share your stuff all over the place, trying to help you grow. Then you got so big, you just forgot about everybody. I'm not saying that I'm taking credit for any of your fame lately and how popular you are, but what I'm saying is it upsets me the fact that it's so hard to get a hold of you. You don't make time for nobody, and if somebody bigger comes along, the smaller things get pushed aside so you can do the bigger things, as if we don't mean anything. It's upsetting because I try to have your back and I tried to say nice things about you, but lately I've just not even been wanting to talk about you. I've just been wanting to tell people, look, I don't even want to talk about Dr. Berry right now. I'm hearing people on your Patreon saying that you don't even make time for them anymore. I just don't know what's up with you anymore, or I don't know what's up with you anymore. Who got you to where you are? It's the people that follow you, the ones that you're neglecting. You cannot neglect them. I just felt like I needed to be straight with you on this. I've been really upset lately. I don't even talk about you too much anymore because of how the last year has went, maybe even more than a year. I just had to get that off my chest. Now I've completely decided to not even talk not even talk about you in my videos. I recommend people go watch your videos for the simple fact you've told me so many times, yeah, we'll get together. Yeah, we'll get together. We'll get together. I mean, many times over the last year, and you just don't follow through. So it's just at the point now where I walk away. I appreciate you. I appreciate the work that you do, but I don't necessarily appreciate how you're handling people that support you the most. I asked you if you wanted to send any books to the seminar that I have coming up, because I was doing a ketogenic event where I was going to actually teach people locally. And you just completely ignored it, didn't even respond to it. Everybody else that I messaged got right on it. Maria Emmerich sent all kinds of books to help me out, to give to people in the public so I can educate and teach them. Megan Ramos came forward. She sent me all kinds of books and stuff like that from her and Dr. Jason Fung to give to the people that showed up at the seminar as kind of like an incentive to get healthy. Barry didn't even respond. He didn't even care about it. I would love to have some extra exposure. Here's a couple books from Megan Ramos, Maria Emmerich, Alterna Sweets. All these people sent me things to give to people as an enticing to get healthy, to show them that there are healthier things out there. No reply from you, none. With that being said, Chief, I wish you well, and I hope you make it very far. But don't forget the people that got you to where you are. You didn't do it on your own. And he replied with, "Thank you, Richard. I appreciate your honesty and forthrightness." Didn't even try to defend himself because he knew what I was saying was 100% correct. So I'm digging around and digging around and digging around, and that whole thing. Let me just let me see if I can pull up that actual voice message that I sent him. Oh, here.
Okay, Doc, I got a little bit of an issue. I put out a video on Jillian Michaels just like everybody else. My video kind of took off and started spreading faster than most people did my size. My subscriber rating started to really increase a lot. Well, now people are starting to respond about all kinds of different things. And somebody had asked about something that happened legally with you before and the medical board. And they posted this lawsuit, and I mentioned something to Robin, and I had Robin ask. But now I said, look, let me just talk to Dr. Berry about this. I don't want to get in his personal matters. It's his business, not mine. Well, now more people are popping up saying, hey, we've given you more than a week to talk about it and figure out what's going on. How come we're not getting any answer? We want to hear from Dr. Berry what happened. So now I'm kind of in a bind.
So I sent him that voice message, kind of being straight with him before I sent that long message I just read you, giving him the opportunity to talk about it because people were coming forward and asking me questions about all this. I didn't know where to take it. I felt like there was a lot of pressure on me because my subscribers on my YouTube really like the fact that I tell the truth, and that I'll try to dig as far as I can, and it doesn't matter if I upset people in the process. I did a video on the whole entire situation with Dr. Berry's citations with the medical board in Tennessee. And what ended up happening is the night that I put out the video explaining the entire situation, that video was viewed almost 1,000 times. And it was more than that. It was like 1,400 times or something like that, just in like a matter of an 8-hour period overnight when everybody here in the United States was asleep, which that's 75% of my following. And I thought to myself, wow, so if that doesn't paint a picture to him and put enough pressure on him to go forward and actually talk about what's going on, what would? I mean, that should kind of push him in the right direction as like, come on, let's go, let's talk about this stuff. People are asking about it. It's public information. Like, talk about it. Somebody's going to find out about it eventually. And he would never do it. Then I sent the long message telling him how unhappy I was with him and stuff like that. The fact that he's not holding up his end of the bargain, that was just not very impressed with his professionalism and stuff anymore. And then when I find out more and more about how people are paying Patreons and stuff like that, and they're not even getting their end of the deal, they're paying for stuff that they're not getting. A simple country face with a nice smile and stuff like that starts turning into something that is slowly becoming pretty sadistic and evil behind closed doors, something that you don't even know about. There's a completely different life to people sometimes, and you know that may be their private life, but when it's public information, I don't see that there's a problem talking about it. So without further ado, we're going to get into some of this other stuff here. Now, Dr. Berg wrote a book called Lies My Doctor Told Me. And recently, if you don't know, his clinic burned up, and it, I don't know, the whole scene, I'm going to say what a lot of you wanted to say that probably either didn't have the gonads to say it, but it was kind of funny whenever the picture was taken. Whoever had the picture taken for the magazine or the article, whatever it was, or for social media, Dr. Berg was in his nice black shirt, and he has this nice flashy shirt on or whatever. It says the Berg Clinic, and it was like a perfect photoed, hands on the hip, looking at the clinic burn, and then somebody took a picture from behind as the firemen, are putting out the fire and stuff like that. What ended up happening before is there's a number of citations that were involved where his practice was basically temporarily suspended for some things that were going on the cosmetic side. He's not just a family doctor. There's something called health grades. So there's a thing right here. It's a download file for respondent Ken Berry MD health grades, a PDF file. And if I was to look at this PDF file and go down it, it's basically in the matter of Ken D. Berry MD respondent before the Tennessee Board of Medical Examiners. And here's the case number. It's public information. Anybody can go find it. A lot of people are, like I said, going to be upset the fact that I'm doing this, but I think it's important for people to know about this. So basically, let's get down into the actual. You can go back and read this. We don't have to go through every single. Respondent has been at all times pertinent hereto licensed by the board as a medical doctor in the state of Tennessee, having been granted Tennessee medical license number 35476 by the board on June 21st, 2001. So according to this, Dr. Berry has been a doctor for right at 19 years, or just shy of. Respondent owns and operates the Berg Clinic in Camden, Tennessee. Respondent performs procedures such as punch-type biopsies, cryotherapy, simple fracture joints, trigger point injections, electrocardiograms, pulmonary function testing, and testosterone estrogen pellet injections. Respondent also maintains a second clinic inside the Berg Clinic called The Upstairs. The Upstairs, in this area, the respondent performs Botox injections, collagen induction therapy, and dermal fillers. Respondent injected testosterone and estradiol pellets into patients by reusing stainless steel injection devices, trocars that are manufactured and sold for single use per Food and Drug Administration. So he reused stainless steel injection devices that were not supposed to be reused. Respondent avers that the representative for the trocar manufacturer advised reuse of the trocar devices. Respondent reused trocars and testosterone estradiol pellet injection from approximately 2011 to 2017. During an inspection of the respondent's clinic in May of 2017, it was discovered that the cleaning, disinfection, and sterilization practices at the clinic were inadequate according to the CDC guidelines to properly prevent the transmission of infectious agents during the insertion procedures as prescribed in paragraph 6. The clinic's written policy describes that cleaning instruments under warm tap water and then placing instruments into a tray contains an industrial strength disinfectant. The instruments would then soak for a period of time that ranged from 10 minutes to 2 weeks. The instruments were then removed from the tray, rinsed off and with sterile water, placed on a sterile towel to dry, and then sealed in packets. The instruments were not steam sterilized prior to the placement into the packets. The respondent does not have an autoclave in the clinic and admitted that he had not used heat sterilization on any of his instruments used for patient care, potentially exposing patients to microorganisms that could come into contact with the body tissue and fluid, increasing the potential for the transmission of diseases from patient to patient. Following the Department of Health's investigation into this matter, respondent implemented a new policy for insertion of testosterone estradiol pellets injections using single trocars only one time and then disposing of the trocars following the procedure. Respondent posted a video advertising a cosmetic facial procedure referred to as a vampire facial on the Upstairs Clinic's Facebook page. The video shows the respondent staff member demonstrating the procedure on the respondent. The procedure involves placing numbing cream on the patient's face and drawing blood from the patient. The patient's blood is placed in a centrifuge to isolate the patient's platelets from the blood and then smeared onto the patient's face. A micro needling pen is then used on the patient's face to puncture the skin. The video shows minimal adherence to routine infection prevention precautions. The handle of the micro needling pen was not covered with a disposable sleeve in the video and was potentially contaminated with patient's blood from the gloved hands of the staff member. The Berg Clinic no longer offers vampire facials as part of the service provided at the upstairs of the Berg Clinic. Immunizations and urine sample did not contain the patient's name were stored in a small refrigerator inside the on-site laboratory facility that also contained food items. This on-site lab is staffed by LabCorp, who is an independent contractor of the Berg Clinic. A prescription of bottle of clonidine HCl 0.1 milligrams with an expiration date of February 26, 2014 was found in a lab with the clinic. The expired medication had been self-prescribed by the respondent. This was a stock bottle maintained at the office to address the immediate blood pressure needs for patients. Respondent avers the prescription was ordered for the office use and did not prescribe the medication for personal use, nor did take the medication himself. The facts stipulated in the stipulation of fact are sufficient to establish that grounds for discipline of the respondent's medical license exist. Specifically, respondent has violated the following statutes and rules. The probationary status placed on Tennessee medical license of Ken D. Berry, MD, license 35476 on May 2016 is ordered, hereby extended for a period of 2 years following the expiration of the initial period of probation. Respondent must petition the board for an order of compliance and personally appear before the board for the probation to be lifted unless the appearance is waived by the board's medical director. Respondent must obtain a certification of infection prevention to develop and maintain a comprehensive infection control plan that adheres to the minimum standards as outlined. During the probationary period, the respondent must have an annual on-site inspection completed by a certified infection preventist. To have the certified infection preventist submit an annual report detailing the findings of the inspection. During the probationary period, the respondent must also submit a quarterly report to the board's medical director detailing his adherence to the infection control plan developed by the certified infection preventist, beginning 3 months after the effective date of this order. And then you can get into all this. It talks about respondent must pay one type civil penalty in the amount of $1,000 for failing to utilize infection prevention precautions as outlined in paragraphs 11 and 12. Respondent must pay pursuant Tennessee Code, yada, 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 and the actual reasonable costs of prosecuting this case to extent allowed by law, including all costs assessed against the board and office by Investigation Secretary of State Administrative Procedures Division, as well as the Office General of Counsel in connection with the prosecution of this matter. Said cost shall not exceed $10,000. And then down here is where everybody signed it. The consent of the order was approved by a majority of quorum in the Tennessee of the Board of Medical Examiners at a public meeting board, signed the 24th day of January 2018. There's the chairman's signature, Barry's signature, attorney for the representative, and assistant general counsel signature here. So that's where we're at with that. That's not the only one, though. There was another group that popped up that talked about having patients. Another one was that I found that popped up, which I'll look for and find right now. See if I can find it. Was a documentation stating that he was also being looked at for having medications in the facility too long, overprescribing medications. It was not putting patients' diagnosis in the record when they filed them. And then what you could look at from that is if you had a diagnosis in a record and somebody came back to sue you for something, but there's no diagnosis there, how are they going to sue you if they weren't diagnosed with anything when they left your clinic? So you could sit there as if you're writing something down on the paperwork all day, but if I don't put your diagnosis on the paper, it's almost as if I didn't tell you anything was wrong with you. So how do I know exactly what's being put down on the paperwork? Let's go here. Now, there were some things that, so the clinic burns down, and there's the picture that pops up of him in front of the clinic. Here's the clinic right here. Here's his profile and stuff on here with him and his wife. And this is a little bit about the clinic. Taking good care of good people since 2003. And there's the upstairs. And he's doing his keto talking and stuff like that here. Seems like a great guy. Seems like a real good guy. Fire destroys the low-carb clinic lab in Tennessee. Fire destroys the low-carb clinic ad in Tennessee. Dr. Andreas Einfeld, MD. Here we go. You know, a lot of people really, really look up to this guy, right? A lot of people think that because of what he was doing and taking money away from, you know, standard medical board and stuff like that, that standard medical practices, they weren't making money anymore. All of a sudden, you know, you get to a point where people are after you. People want you to, let me see, there's a specific site here. I'm looking at my phone for 1 second. Let's look at the Camden paper. Let's look at this paper right here. Okay, so the home, I mean, his clinic burns up. You know, it almost seemed too good to be true the way everything was going, and a lot of the low carb events were popping up and stuff like that. The clinic burns up. Okay, so maybe it was malpractice. I mean, maybe somebody did that in a malicious intent or something like that. Breaking news: Dr. Ken Berry's house burns to the ground months after losing clinic flames, and then all of a sudden his home burns up. October 3rd, 2019, this article was written. We can go through here. It was caught fire overnight. They were not at the house when it happened. I think they were living somewhere else at the time. Unfortunate that this did happen. And then we get down here into the comment section. How terrible for them. This is arson. Highly suspicious is what these people are saying, without a doubt. Why are you highly suspicious? This is arson. This is horrific. And I'm so sorry to hear this. First, the clinic, March of 2019. 2, lightning. And now they're home. I pray they find whoever did this. Arson in the meaning of someone started the fire on purpose, possibly the same people who set a clinic on fire as well. But of course, that is unknown at the moment. Like you, I pray they find whoever did this. So very sad. I'm sorry to hear this. Our keto group is praying for Dr. Berry and Nisha. This guy says, hope the peacocks are okay. I'm sorry to hear this. I'm a big believer in you. Did their dog make it? You know. Then who's this here? This person right here pops up and says, they were not living in the house. They moved to Nashville to be closer to the birthing center where they will be having the baby, prayers being sent. This guy here says, sadly, they took all the money and donations they received and purchased a big house in Nashville. Dr. Berg is doing some shady stuff. You can read about it in his disciplinary actions on the medical board, also having issues with the IRS. On the Keto cruise from fall of 2018, there's a video circulating. Basically, I heard the same story of somebody that was on the cruise that took video of Nisha on the beach saying, we just need to burn down my clinic and get on with our lives. 2 weeks later, she made a big deal about trying to get pregnant. Not good for them at all. Praying for the family, prayers from Tennessee. They live in an apartment in Nashville now. Look at this person, concerned citizen. When a doctor and nurse who are calling for the elimination of statins and other highly profitable medical medications see their clinic and home burnt to the ground, it sure does make you wonder what the heck is going on. This cannot be a coincidence. So everybody is obviously fooled by what's going on here. Then you start getting down into here. Get down here some more. Arson, of course. So sad. People, this article's, it's got some time for it to catch some traction. And then people from the local towns start popping up in some of these articles to say, hey, what are you guys talking about? You guys are so fooled by what's going on here. You don't really see the actual, you don't know what we've dealt with being around these people. Come on, people, you know the deal. This is how you cash out around here. Okay, obviously this is somebody that's talking like they know how things are done around there. You are implying the Berries are responsible for burning their home down. I really don't think they need cash to resort to burning their home down. This one right here, titled Do Your Research. Public records state that Dr. Berg was under a second round of disciplinary action from the state medical board for breaches of his medical license. He put patients at risk of HIV due to the testosterone injection methods and clinic practices, as well as self-prescriptions and prescriptions for family members in the contravention of the medical board regulations. He has an outstanding IRS lien against his home. He has allegations against him from former employer and staff members of sexual assault and harassment. The 2 locations where patient and business records were kept have been destroyed by fire. And interestingly, proceeds from an insurance claim are not available for the IRS to access to meet a debt. No statements from him. His public social media channels this time are all completely silent. This one right here. Kudos to people who think I am a physician who also almost collaborated with Dr. Ken Berg. I sent 8 patients to him. They flew out to see him at his clinic. Shame on me for not doing any homework. There's even more to the story than this, but I'm not at liberty to say, as there's an upcoming lawsuit. Remember, you don't have to pay restitution on the books you sell. They will have to pay donations back, which is why they didn't want donations but encouraged help in the form of buying his book. It's very shady and gives a terrible name to the healthcare providers in this arena. So this is a person that's obviously covering up their name, that is a keto doctor, that knows what's going on, that sent patients to see him, and is very upset with the fact that they sent people to see him. This person here, I have seen evidence of wasted Nisha drinking beer on the Keto cruise, saying they need to burn the clinic down. Dr. Berg might have some IRS issues along with medical board issues, to name a few. His tricks are as old as the Bible. Many people do stuff like this in the name of religion. He used keto to spread the word to become profitable, fast cash style. Nisha is all about the money. Time will tell. Much of this has been reported to the authorities. I knew he was a shady character from the second I met him. So this is a person that actually physically knows him. Please report the final investigation on the cause of the clinic fire. I believe it was ruled an act of nature due to the lightning strike during the storm in the area the night of the fire. Actually, in the paper, I believe it said the official cause couldn't be determined. Then here, another person that simply says, oh, someone has it out for the berries. They're exposing big pharma lies. No, it doesn't happen this way. And then again here, a doctor exposing the truth about medical life. Figure it out. Come on, people. These people are obviously brainwashed by the fact that they think somebody's out for their health, and all of a sudden they've got them figured out and they don't have other agendas going on. Right here, public records state that Dr. Berg was under a second round of disciplinary action. The same thing as above. Please can you post the links to substantiate where you found this information, health grades and health grades. This is why I told you there's several, if you look in health grades, there's several instances where they actually bring up the public information. Family medicine doctor, Camden, Tennessee. It's got 3 disciplinary actions: non-compliance with a professional rule in 124/2018, misprescribing and overprescribing drugs 5/18/2016, misprescribing, overprescribing drugs 5/18/2016. Action taken, probation, summary. Please reference the following document, PDF file. Again, this is the one we read earlier. Yeah, we don't really need to read that again. That's the one we read earlier. This is the one I want to see right here. Okay, so from 2004 to present, respondent provided treatment to multiple patients. The department conducted an investigation that included the review of 17 of the patient records prepared and kept by the respondent. The treatment respondent provided included prescribing controlled substances and/or other medications that were not documented as medically necessary for the patient's diagnosed condition. Respondent's charts do not contain documented medical decisions making regarding how the respondent arrived at this diagnosis, with the majority of the charts inspected by the department showing normal physical exams. Though the narcotic amounts prescribed by the respondent are relatively low, respondent frequently prescribes his patients combination of opioids and benzodiazepines, or I can't say the word, and carisoprodol, all addictive substances without sufficient monitoring for compliance. Since the review of the respondent's charts by the department, he has instituted office policies requiring pain monitoring contracts with all patients prescribed medication for pain management longer than a 3-month period, and he has initiated a policy of random urine drug screening for patients chronically taking controlled substances. Respondent's documentation does not indicate the use of modalities, alternatives to oral medication, and respondent rarely charted a treatment plan for the other than continuing the patient's present medication. Respondent adheres to that, while he often discussed modalities, alternatives to oral medication with patients, and he admits that these discussions were not always well documented in his patient's charts. Respondent prescribed controlled substances for his ex-wife and grandfather. Respondent avers that controlled substances prescribed to his grandfather were prescribed for palliative care at the end of his grandfather's life. Respondent's grandfather passed away as a result of bladder cancer in 2014. And then it goes into the end. And it kind of gets into respondent shall obtain practice monitoring through affiliated monitors and other practice program approved by the medical board director within 30 days. Respondent shall cause the practice monitor to issue a report to the board's medical director every 3 months, beginning 3 months after the entry of the order detailing the findings. Compliance with the practitioner's recommendations. Completion of any educational program prescribed by the practice monitor. Respondent's prescribing practices. respondent's medical record keeping, and the respondent's treatment of chronic and intraceable pain. So this is all the stuff he would have to go through. Respondent is assessed and must pay pursuant and rule of the compilation of rules and regulations of the state, $1,000, for a total civil penalty of $5,000. Respondent must pay the pursuant, including all costs assessed against record of the Board, Department, or Bureau of Investigation in connection with the prosecution of this matter. These costs will be established and assessed of costs prepared and filed by counsel of the department. The maximum amount of this assessment cost shall be $3,000. And they all signed it just like normal. So let's click off of that. Hide the details there. Probably the same thing all over again. Yeah, it's the same one all over again. So that's how I knew that there was another one there that we were talking about. Let's go back here. Let's go back. Let's keep reading what some of these local people are saying here. You talking about the other another doctor who has the same name spelled differently and lives in another state? Stop your assuming. Do your homework before accusing untruth. There's and saying, if you can't be honest with yourself, how can you be honest with others? Whoever this chick is stupid. And the reason I say she's stupid is because this is just one of them stupid frauds. And I'm sorry, this is just a fraud. This lady right here is so brainwashed by what's being said. It clearly states in these articles, this is a Camden, Tennessee doctor with the same exact name, talking exactly about the same doctor. But this broad down here, there happens to be two Dr. Ken Berrys in the same town, right? With the same clinic, the same everything. Get the hell out of here. This is why I don't like people like this, because no matter what, you just cannot reason with them. You can give them all the facts in the world. You can tell them everything and show them all the truths, medical documentation, things that have been signed, court records, everything, and it does not matter. It's still not good enough for them, because they will not believe that their groupie follower that they're following has done anything wrong. Anyway, absolutely not an accident, disgusting and horrendous. Hope they will find help from their community and the arsonist. Another person here, going back to the public records, finding out that there's so much stuff going on about his life in general. Another person here, we have Nisha on video during the low carb cruise saying in the background, just need to burn down our clinic and move on. She was pretty drunk, but not a cool thing to say. Also, Dr. Berry gave opioids to family members, and the medical board is looking into his license after doing procedures in his clinic prior to burning it down. prior to it burning down. Lastly, I find it odd that they didn't want donations, restitution, and steered everything toward the book. You can always keep those donations. Although I'm a lawyer and I deal with arson, so what do I know? So this is an arson lawyer. Lastly, I find it odd that they didn't want donations or restitution and steered everything towards the book. You can always keep those donations, although I'm a lawyer and I deal with arson, so what do I know? Wow, that's crazy. This person right here, I'm not surprised. I used to work with his wife, and she's a shady character. She's all about appearing like the Kardashians, but her external appearance is very different than off her Instagram behavior. This couple has tricked many. Dr. Ken got into keto their small staff were paid off to keep silent. The area is a small town. Berries. Your social media followers might lack thinking skills, but we know better. people from the town speaking out about what they know. The Berries are not the most upstanding people in our community. Dr. Berry is known to overprescribe meds. He's in debt, or was before he drove everything to his book sales. His wife had been in trouble at the hospital where she worked. He used injection tools that were not sanitary and was hit with fines. You can read all about that right here on Health Grades. And he was insured. Business records were destroyed in that fire. Guys, come on. We can use our brains better. You think he's here to help you? Bless their kids' hearts in all of these matters. Whether or not people's statements are true or false against the Berry family, only God knows. I, for one, will be praying that in the end, only God wins out, never evil. Dr. Berry isn't my doctor, never has been. He has given me great info on the ketogenic carnivore lifestyle and told me to do my own research. Therefore, I let things I see and hear pass without letting others influence my feelings about him one way or the other. Even if you think he's shady or underhanded, shouldn't you pray for him? Just saying, none of you know what happened. Lexington Wellness Center. I'm gone. So whoever this is at the Wellness Center that's maybe affiliated with Dr. Berry, I want to inform my little brother that he should also pay a visit to this website on a regular basis to get updated from the latest news. Click on Lexington Wellness Center. Let's see where it goes. It's some kind of medical page that you got to sign up for some junk. I don't know what it is. A chiropractic and wellness center. So let's get out of this. Let's back up a second here. Let me see if I can find. There's an actual public record IRS lien. I wish I could show this to you guys. Let me see if I can go here. Stop the screen share for a second. Somebody contacted me, let's say, somebody contacted me about 2 weeks ago and gave me some information and said, I want you to know more about this guy. I seen your video back when you posted it. I know this guy personally. There's way more to this guy than what meets the eye. I can't really get into it because I don't want to. The last person that spoke out about it, his followers and him started attacking these people privately and on social media and got them to basically shut their mouth and delete the stuff that they posted. So I'm going to share it with you so you have it. And then you can put it on social media if you want, and you can take it from there. But the person was like, I think you're doing the right thing by doing this. I think your channel is underrated. I really have been watching you for a long time. The guy's from the UK, and he said, you need to be very, very, very aware of what's going on. So when you put out the information, you can paint this clear picture from start to finish on exactly what you think is going on. And just remember, he said, talk very calmly. Don't be evil or mean about anything. You just stay nice and calm when you're talking about things. Don't get excited. Don't call names, because when you leave it as an opinion based and you talk about things from an opinion instead of fact, and then you show people what's out there, they can draw up their own fact opinion base. But just give them the information from start to finish. Paint your picture from your personal story and then take it into what's going on now, what has led into what's going on now, and then you don't have to say anything to finalize it. You can let it play out on its own, but at least you're giving people the information. And then I contacted somebody in the keto space that really knows them personally. And I took a chance and I said, look, I want to talk to you about something, and you can never talk to me again if you want. You can block me, but I just want a second of your time. If you would give me a second of your time to just lend an ear, please. And I was talking to them, I don't know, it was about a week ago or something like that. And I said, look, this is what's on my mind. This is what's going on. And they were like, you know what? Dr. Berry is a thorn in the side of a lot of keto professionals. We know what's going on with him, but we don't talk about it. And I said, well, wait a second. When I found out about all this stuff, I actually went to Glenn Finkel from Ask Adapt, and I sent him a private message saying, hey, I've got some information on a person that's going to be speaking at one of your conventions, or I don't even think I referenced that. I've got some information on a doctor. Let me see if I can even pull up the message. Here. Right here. So I have a question. One of my subscribers on YouTube sent me a link to a lawsuit that one of the doctors that we're following was involved in, and it just recently, over the last years, got closed out. They want some clarification on if they've been clarification on it. They have been on me for about 2 weeks now, asking me to find out what happened and ask the doctor to talk about it so they know, and I don't know what to do. Immediately, he says I wouldn't get involved. You do not have to answer every request, especially if it makes you uncomfortable. I said it's backing me into a corner now, and when one person seen the comment, several more people stopped and said, hey, yeah, I know about that, and I would like answers on that as well. I've been asking, my comments are getting deleted, and if I delete the comments or ignore them, they know. And I told him I have a feeling that it's going to get worse, and if I delete people's comments or ignore them, I know I'm going to look like the bad guy or the bad person, and I appreciate your input on this. He says I wouldn't feel pressured. It's almost as if he didn't even want to talk about it because it could affect what could possibly happen with the speakers that they have coming up for Ask Adapt. And it just so happens at that time that Dr. Berg was going to be opening for the Ask Adapt event in Tennessee. And I think also he was going to be opening at the event in Georgia or something like that, which is all fine and dandy. But the more I looked into it, and the more I felt pressured about this, the more people were asking me questions about this, the more I just wasn't getting any answers. There's a lot that led up into all this. The specific person I was talking to wasn't Glenn Finkel. It was somebody else, and I'm not going to dime them out. I'm not going to mention their name. And I said, hey, you've seen my videos around. You've seen me active in the groups. I'm kind of like the asshole keto guy that will just, I tell people like it is. Even if you don't like it, I'll say it right in front of your face. It's just kind of how I am. I just, if it is, it is. And I said, what do you think about Berg? And they said, honestly, he's a thorn in the keto side. There's a lot of the ketogenic professionals that cannot stand him because everything that he's going through now, about how he's making so much, he's making this sore spot over the keto community because of the things that he's dealing with. And he's got so many people fooled in the process. His subscriber rating keeps increasing and increasing and increasing. And as it keeps increasing, more people are starting to flock to them like sheep, and they're buying into this. But the rest of us know exactly what's going on. And this person actually brought up the fact that, hey, he's dealing with some IRS stuff and everything else, right? I was like, what are you talking about? And the person was like, how do you think the home thing happened and the clinic thing happened and everything else happened? And I was like, really? Can you send me any kind of information at all? And let's see here. So I ended up getting this, let me see if I can pull it up on here. I'll save it. I'll save it on here. And then we'll just go. I'm pulling it up right now so I can show you guys exactly what I'm talking about. I just don't want to screen share how I'm getting there because it's saved in some private records, and I don't want. I'm going to save this image. Saved. Now I'll back out of Facebook. Downsize here. Go to my images. Photos. Okay, this is what I'll do. I'm going to have to actually take a chance. And just pull it up here and just show it directly to where I've got it from, hoping that I'm doing this correctly and not exposing more than what I need to. So I'm going to screen share this to you so you can see what's going on. Screen share, share screen, Chrome tab, Facebook, right here. First look, Keto Doc has IRS lien. Yesterday I reported on a fire. This guy says, yesterday I reported on a fire at a residential structure owned by Dr. Kenneth Berry in Benton County. Some months ago, the clinic owned by Dr. Berry burned. This morning, I did a public record search in Benton County. According to the Benton County Registrar of Deeds, there is an original tax lien by the Internal Revenue Service totally over $270,000 against properties owned by Dr. Berry. A person with this knowledge of the IRS workings says that the lien is current, but the amount may be more or less than the stated amount. And then it specifically has exactly County of Deeds total $153,068.81. So, regardless if I've shown you enough to make you think about things twice, regardless if I've shown you enough to have you cuss me out or think I'm some kind of asshole for doing this or something, I would hope that you would appreciate the fact that somebody's gone to the extent of trying to find out this information. It seems like this whole thing from start to finish has been a complete crap show. It seems like there was an agenda that was being pushed whenever people came to this to begin with. And I'm sure here in the next couple hours, when people wake up and see this video, they're going to be very, very shocked. I'm sure this video is going to get taken down. I'm sure Dr. Berry's groupies and subscribers, the ones that really are brainwashed by the fact that there's nothing else going on as they think, are going to come report this and give me a bad review, thumbs down, everything else. It's going to happen. People just don't like the truth anymore. And when they find somebody they like, regardless at the end of the day, that's all they care about. When you have somebody that's just constantly regurgitating the information that's already being put out there by people like Dr. Eric Westman, Dr. Ron Rosedale, Georgia Eads, Tim Noakes, Dr. Stephen Feeney, and Dr. Jeff Volek, all you have to do is just repeat it, have a nice face, have a southern accent, and obviously have some kind of agenda that nobody knows about, and act like you actually give a shit about people and care, and go on social media and just put it out to them, and all of a sudden you are their hero. You know, they'll stand by you no matter what. I think this is the true term or the true definition of a groupie supporter, whenever you know everything's put in front of you and presented, yet you still continue to follow them blindly. Dr. Berry Adam Nolly, Soladino, all recently posted on the estrogen burger without even doing any kind of research or anything at all. Just went straight to social media. Uh, Basically posted the Impossible Burger would make you grow man boobs. Instead, it had 44 milligrams of estrogen per serving. I went behind them. I did the research myself, called 8 food testing facilities. A few people of those 8, not every one of them talked to me. And I can post the links to the material, or you can just go back into the video and to the time slots and find. I posted everything on here so you guys could see it. I'll try to go back. But anyway, to continue what I was saying, I ended up finding out that they lied about that. They didn't do any research at all. The stuff that they put on social media was not correct. It was less than 2 milligrams of estrogen per serving, not 44 milligrams. The guy reporting on that was a dietary management doctor for animals. He had nothing to do with humans. He was not a scientist. And then contacting the publishing agency and questioning them why they would allow somebody to post an article in their paper without citing the research or how they came up with the conclusion that they came up with. I'm now blocked from the publishing agents. I called the girl and talked to her. She was the publisher of the classifieds, and she was going to contact the main publisher and get in contact with them and put me through to them or the doctor directly and try to figure out why there was not stuff cited to back up this information. I went ahead and sent the email to the lady giving my name and stuff and what I was requesting on. That's what she told me to do. She said, email me so I can email that to somebody else that can help you. I did that. Well, 24 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours, I've all got these automatic responses back that I've been blocked from their server. It's not accepting my email, and they're basically not going to talk to me probably. I'm going to have to call them back and hound them in order to get some kind of answer. I'm going to share with you. I'm going to go back to screen share screen, Chrome tab, new tab, done. See if I can figure out here. Copy, paste it. This is the newspaper article I have linked down here now. And then if we go to the bottom down here, copy link address. Well, let me click on it first. It's going to make me download again. What I'll do is just I'll copy the link address. Go back here. Paste it. Done. I'll take the other link address just in case. Copy link address. Paste it. Done. I don't know if you can click on those links or not now that they're in there. You might have to highlight them, copy them, and then paste them into your browser. Stop screen sharing. So basically, there's my history in a nutshell with these doctors. And as I said, number 4 would be Josh Axe, supplement pushing, terrible keto advice in the long run, mixed match on so much of the stuff he says. Number 3 would be Thomas DeLauer, just from the fact that he's just so bought by the supplement industry and so wish-washy and back and forth. Number 2 would be Dr. Berg, just from the simple fact that Dr. Berg came on scene. He was dealing with a bunch of medical citations and stuff before that. Another doctor that seems to trend to get away from the medical citations and the pressure of being a doctor and how many things you can get in trouble for, turning to social media to see if there's a platform or a network or a path there, and then going from there to the nice, honest, sincere doctor that he was. And really, in the beginning, when I started following him, I was on social media before he even started his YouTube channel, and kind of started following him. He was a good, nice, honest doctor. And then along came the supplements and the books and the buy this and the $500 seminar tickets and everything else. And it just got to the point now where I'm just like, man, this is ridiculous. A lot of the stuff he says is ridiculous, and it's not really supported by a lot. I'm not sure what to tell you then about the links. I mean, that's what I have right now. I've shared it enough on here for you guys to see it with me clicking on it and scrolling through it. Maybe you can share it with other people. If maybe one of the people that open it up are kind enough to email it to you, you have to probably go back through what I pulled up and screenshot the stuff, or I don't know how else I would be able to get it to you because it's a downloadable. You might have to go to a different search engine to pull it up if you're in the UK or the European Union. I don't know. Never heard anybody call it the European Union. So that's a new term to me. Was the European Union basically the same thing as the UK? Anyhow, that's where we're at. And then number one, because of everything that's going on and the controversy behind the clinic fire and the home fire, his wife getting in trouble at the hospital she was at, then, you know, I've watched a few of Nisha's videos before, and not to attack her or anything like that. I cannot stand her videos. Her videos are so cringy watching her talk about things. And in so many of the videos that I actually picked up to see what type of person she was or what kind of advice she put out, I would see the fact that she would spend so much time playing with her toenails or fingernails or the dog or sitting out on the porch doing something instead of paying attention to the subscribers that were on the camera. And there were several instances where things like that would go on. It was like this, ha ha, hee, kind of like self-absorbed image where there are other things going on right now, but yet you're focusing completely on yourself. And one video in particular, I think she forgot that she was even completely on camera, and she started painting her toenails and playing with the dog and stuff like that. And this went on for minutes and minutes and minutes. And I'm like, wow, this is so cringy. Just the fact that none of this is professional at all. And you know, I wish them good fortune in their future, the honest way. I hope that they would. I wish them the best at giving their children the best life that they have. But I don't think Dr. Berg needs to be in the keto space with all the things that he's dealing with. I don't think that he should be giving anybody advice until he gets his life completely together. And unfortunately, I think Nisha needs to be a mom. I don't think she needs to have anything to do with medical right now. Honestly, that's my personal opinion on this matter, and that's just what it's going to be. And but I'm going to leave it at that. You know, I don't want to go any further than that, just for the simple fact that I can't say anything else. I think it's going to come out in the wash eventually. I think people are going to see the true intent here, and I think that if people keep trying to defend his actions and what's been going on and trying to mask it with, oh, somebody did this to him, he didn't do it himself, I think people are just brainwashed. I think people don't want to really see the truth and what's going on in front of them. So it is what it is, and that's where we're at, guys. On this channel, I bring you the truth, regardless if it makes you upset or not. Call me what you want, say what you will. It is what it is, and at the end of the day, the truth will come out. I'm going to get off of here. I've been on here for an hour and 23 minutes. I wanted to do this quick. I was over on another YouTuber's channel, and they were defending Dr. Berg and Dr. Berg, and they were basically telling people that they're God's gift to the keto community and stuff like that. And that's not true at all. And I had my own opinions to say without bringing all this up. And this person popped up, you know, a little while ago. Let's see. I can tell you exactly what was said. And that's partially what enticed me to continue on making this video. Many people who try to tell people about good natural healing are brought to the table. Dr. Berg and Dr. Berry were very good and very helpful to people so they don't have to go get drugged up on chemicals that kill people. Do you do research on deaths from doctors and their medical advice, surgeries, chemicals like chemo and radiation? Your comment tells me you have done no research on the opposite. So really it means zero to us. That's what this person has said to me. Well, little do they know I probably do more research than most people on the internet. So I hope this answers your question. All things possible. And I will share this video with that person and I will let them know exactly how much research I have done for their infamous keto doctors that care so much that are not out to hide anything. Anyway, I'm going to go back to bed for a couple hours. You guys be blessed. I hope this does something for you. I hope you appreciate this kind of content. And if you find somebody that this can help, please share it with them. This is the top 4 worst of the keto professional influencer space. And I stand by it. Thank you guys. I appreciate you. Have a great morning, a great evening. Happy New Year. And I will see you on the flip side. This is your keto mechanic signing out. Be blessed.